Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
All right, Commanders fans, you are not going to believe the mess that just landed on our doorstep this week. We've got an injury update out of New York that should have every burgundy and gold fan grinning from ear to ear. We've got a stat sheet disrespect job so bad it might actually be criminal. And then, just when you thought the Brandon Aiyuk soap opera had finally gone to commercial break, the man logs back on and throws gasoline on the fire one more time. Oh, and somewhere in the middle of all that chaos, Jaden Daniels quietly became the coolest athlete on the planet, and nobody's even talking about it. So grab a seat, because we are covering all of it, start to finish, no filler, just the story. Let's start in New York, because honestly, this is the update Commanders fans have been secretly hoping for all offseason, even if nobody wants to say it out loud. A Giants insider by the name of Jordan Raanan came out this week and basically told everybody not to get their hopes up about Malik Nabers being back for Week 5. His exact words were that there just aren't a ton of scenarios where you look at the calendar and think Nabers is going to be back on the field playing like the #1 superstar receiver he was drafted to be by the time Washington rolls into town. Now look, nobody wants to see a young, talented player go down with a serious injury. That's not what this is about. But if we're being honest with ourselves as fans, this is a massive break for the Commanders' schedule. Think about who Malik Nabers actually is for a second. This is a 22-year-old wide receiver with a golden resume already forming. Even through an injury-shortened season last year where he only managed 18 catches for 271 yards and 2 touchdowns, the flashes were undeniable. And remember, that's the injured version of Nabers. Go back to his rookie year and the man put up over 1,200 yards. Let that sink in for a second. 1,200 yards as a rookie. That's a number some receivers chase their entire career and never touch. Terry McLaurin, a guy Commanders fans rightfully love and respect, has never hit 1,200 yards in a single season during his entire time in Washington. That's how special Nabers is when he's healthy and rolling. So when you take a player of that caliber and you pencil him in as a maybe, probably not for a Week 5 showdown against the Commanders, that is enormous. Jackson Dart, the Giants' young quarterback, is already going to be figuring out his footing at the NFL level. Strip away his best and most explosive weapon, and suddenly that offense looks a whole lot less scary. And let's not pretend the Commanders have an easy road to get there. This schedule opens up rough. You're talking Eagles, you're talking Cowboys, you're talking Seahawks, Murderers Row type stuff right out of the gate. Every single game against a team that isn't operating at full strength becomes an opportunity you cannot afford to waste. If Nabers really is out or limping around at limited capacity in Week 5, the Commanders need to smell blood in the water and take full advantage. This is not the time for a letdown game. This is the time to pounce. Now let's pivot to something that is going to make some of you angry, because it made me angry. Pro Football Focus dropped their running back rankings, and somehow, someway, Bill Merritt landed at number 30. 30, as in, is out here saying there are 29 running backs in this entire league better than Bill Merritt heading into this season. I need you to sit with that for a second. Because once you look at the actual numbers, it stops making any sense at all. Let's run through what this kid actually did as a rookie, and remember, this is a 7th-round draft pick we're talking about. 7th round. The gap between guy nobody expected anything from and guy who might be a legitimate starting running back is usually enormous, and Merritt closed it in one season. He rushed for 805 yards last season. 805 yards is good for 23rd in the entire NFL. Not 30th, 23rd. He led all rookie running backs with 8 rushing touchdowns, which tied him for 13th among every running back in football, rookie or otherwise. His yards per carry sat at 4.6, good for 19th league-wide. Even his workload, 175 carries, checked in at 26th in the league. Go through every single one of those numbers. 23rd, 13th, 19th, 26th. Not one of those numbers says 30. Not one of them says past 30 either. So somebody explain how a player who outperformed the 30th ranking in literally every meaningful statistical category still ends up ranked 30th. And here's the part that should really sting Commanders fans. This was a guy who was getting held back. Cliff Kingsbury, for whatever reason, did not fully unleash Krosky merit last season. And yet he still nearly cracked 1,000 yards anyway. If the offense had trusted him with a true workhorse role from week 1, we could be having a very different conversation right now, one where a 1,000-yard rookie season was on the table. Instead, he did all of that in a limited role as a 7th-round afterthought, and wants to rank him below 29 other backs across the league. It's disrespectful, plain and simple. And unfortunately, disrespect has kind of become the theme of this entire Commanders offseason. Every ranking, every list, every way too early projection seems to have Washington and its players getting shortchanged. At some point, that stops being a coincidence and starts being a pattern. The good news? Bill Krosky Merritt is only 25 years old. He's got 1 full season of NFL experience under his belt, and he is more than capable of shutting every single doubter up with his play on Sundays. He doesn't need Fifth's approval. He needs touches, and the results will speak louder than any spreadsheet ranking ever could. All right, now let's get into the story that simply will not die. Brandon Aiyuk. If you've been following along, you already know the background here, but for those just tuning in, let me catch you up quickly. Aiyuk is not on the Commanders. He has never signed with the Commanders. There is no deal, no contract, no reinstatement filing with the league, nothing, and yet somehow this man continues to insert himself into the Washington Commanders news cycle on what feels like a weekly basis. This week brought 2 separate Aiyuk headlines, and both of them are frankly wild. First, there's a report floating around, and Aiyuk himself seemingly confirmed pieces of it on his own social media story, claiming that quarterback Jaden Daniels told him directly, quote, "I don't do that internet stuff, bro. Hit my phone if you got to talk to me. You got my number. When I call him, he don't answer. Hit my phone, bro. It's important. It's the money on the line." Now, we have to be careful here, because a lot of what comes out of this particular situation has proven to be less than accurate in the past. But even taking it at face value for a second, think about how smart that move actually is if it's true. Why on earth would Jaden Daniels want to have a phone conversation with Brandon Aiyuk right now? Nothing said on that call stays private. Nothing. Nothing you tell Brandon Aiyuk is safe from becoming a public headline or a cryptic social media post 20 minutes later. If Daniels really is dodging his calls and telling him to text instead, that's not beef. That's self-preservation. That's a young franchise quarterback protecting himself from a situation he clearly wants nothing to do with. And then, as if that wasn't enough content for 1 week, Aiyuk turns right around and posts a picture of a pair of cleats with a caption saying, quote, "I'm going so crazy in burgundy and gold." You can stamp that. Stamp what exactly? Because last time anybody checked, you are not on this roster. You are not signed. You are not playing for the burgundy and gold. So respectfully, please stop using our slogans. Stop referencing our colors. Stop acting like you're part of a franchise that has moved on and has bigger priorities to worry about. This Commanders team went 5-12 2 seasons ago and has spent this entire offseason trying to build something real, something sustainable. Nobody inside that building is sitting around thinking about Brandon Aiyuk's Instagram captions. When training camp actually opens at the end of July, when players are reporting, when real football decisions are being made, Brandon Aiyuk is not going to be part of that conversation. Not even a little bit. If the front office decided tomorrow to sign a completely different veteran receiver, someone like Stephon Diggs, for example, would this fan base still be sitting around talking about Brandon Aiyuk? Not for a second. The facts are simple. He's using this fan base and this franchise's name for attention while doing absolutely nothing to actually put himself back on an NFL field. At first, some of it was mildly funny. The go buy your tickets at Commanders, calm posts, the raise hell, take command energy, even a Father's Day post referencing the team. Cute the first time. Exhausting by now. If he genuinely wanted to play football again badly enough, the path is right there in front of him. Show up to the facility that actually holds his rights, handle his business, and get back on the field. Instead, he continues choosing pride over production, and at a certain point, that pride is going to cost him an entire career. So please, Brandon, do us all a favor and leave our name out of your captions. Now let's end this on some genuinely feel-good news, because after all that Aiyuk chaos, we deserve it. Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels is officially the newest Gatorade athlete. Think about the significance of that for a second. Gatorade does not hand out sponsorship deals to just anybody. This is one of the most recognizable, most prestigious brands in all of sports, and they specifically chose to align themselves with Jaden Daniels heading into his second NFL season. Daniels himself couldn't hide his excitement, saying, quote, "Growing up, I used to watch the iconic Gatorade commercials and think to myself, one day that will be me, and now it's happening," which is crazy. He went on to say, quote, "From off-season workouts to in-season practice and games, Gatorade has always kept me hydrated and ready to compete at the highest level. I'm honored to represent a brand that's been part of my journey since day one. This is bigger than just a nice paycheck or a cool commercial. This is a signal. Major brands do not throw their name behind athletes they don't believe in long-term. Gatorade isn't putting a struggling or unproven player front and center in their marketing campaigns. They're betting on Jaden Daniels because they see exactly what Commanders fans have believed since the moment he stepped onto that field. This is a franchise quarterback, and this is only the beginning of what he's going to accomplish." And honestly, this lines up with everything being said around the league right now. Every insider, every analyst, every former player who's talked about Daniels this offseason keeps landing on the same conclusion. The belief in this kid inside that Ashburn facility is absolute. Nobody in that building is questioning whether Jaden Daniels is the guy. So why would anybody outside of it? Yes, he'll have to prove it on the field again this season, because that's how this league works. Nobody gets to coast on one great rookie campaign forever. But remember, last year wasn't even really a fair test. Daniels flashed exactly what made him special when he was healthy and on the field. He just couldn't stay upright for a full 16 or 17 games. That's the difference between him and a bust. The talent was never the issue. Availability was. And look at how the truly elite quarterbacks in this league respond to a tough or injury-riddled season. Patrick Mahomes didn't sulk after missing the playoffs last year. He got back to work. Joe Burrow has made an entire career out of getting knocked down and coming back stronger every single time. That is exactly the mold Jaden Daniels is following right now. Expect him to come back this season sharper, healthier, and ready to remind the entire league why Washington built its future around him in the first place. So there you have it, Commanders fans, a week that had a little bit of everything. Encouraging injury news out of New York that could tilt Week 5 in our favor. A running back getting disrespected by the numbers despite the numbers actually proving his case. A former 49er who refuses to let go of a jersey he's never worn. And a franchise quarterback quietly stacking accolades while doing everything the right way. This offseason has been a roller coaster, and honestly, it's only going to get wilder as we get closer to training camp. If you enjoyed breaking all of this down with me, do me a solid and smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. I want to know what you think about Krosky Merritt's ranking. whether you buy into the Malik Nabers injury timeline, and honestly, whether you think Brandon Aiyuk will ever just let this go. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we are closing in on 6,000 subscribers before training camp even kicks off, and I need every single one of you locked in for that. The second anything else breaks on this Brandon Aiyuk situation or anything else involving the burgundy and gold, I'll be right back here covering it first. Until then, hail to the Washington Commanders, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.